Hi, welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Paul Lisnick. It takes a village to make a difference, of course. And do you know that 1 in every 5 Americans lives with a disability, perhaps visible, perhaps invisible? But it takes everybody to be a part of keeping our community together. I want you to meet somebody from an organization that's making a difference in that way. Emily Harris is the Executive Director for ADA 25, Advancing Leadership, with an important program that I want to tell you about. Good to see you, Emily.
Nice to see you, Paul.
Fair enough statement to make. It takes a village, and people with disabilities, whether we see them, whether we don't, need to play a role as well.
Absolutely. We are part of the fabric of society. There are, as you said, 1 in 5 Americans with a disability, and it can be people who you would expect to have a disability, might be in a wheelchair or something else visible, or somebody like me who has hearing loss. And you would never know if you didn't notice the hearing aids.
So tell me about the mission of, and by the way, the name ADA 25 Leadership, that's not just a random name, there's a purpose for it.
So we were born out of a celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act 3 years ago. The act was signed by President Bush in 1990, and 3 years ago, Chicago celebrated that 25th anniversary by looking at how could we be even more inclusive. People with disabilities have made huge strides since that civil rights law came into effect, but still we have a much higher unemployment rate, higher poverty rate, and continue to be excluded because of stigma and basically the barriers that our society puts up.
It's unfortunate, but we try every day to make this a better world in that respect. And so one of the things that your organization recognizes, you know, it's certainly part of the magic here is being a part of the fabric of society, which people with disabilities are. But secondly, it's about realizing that people with disabilities need to play a role in leadership. And so to that extent, your organization has created a leadership institute solely for the purpose of getting people with disabilities ready to take on that role. Talk to me about that.
So we bring in 16 to 20 people every year, cross disability, every kind of disability you can imagine, also variety of professions, variety of races, ethnicities. We try to be as diverse as possible. And our goal is really to help them connect into civic leadership opportunities. So we do an institute which is a training for those people, but ultimately the long-term goal is that they'll serve on boards, commissions, task forces, committees. It can be leadership in any context. It can be part of their block club. It can be the head of a commission.
One way you got to get people ready, of course, is to get them trained. We should make a point that those people who are part of this institute, this is not a come spend a weekend with us.
That's true. It's a 1-year program. We start with an orientation, and then we have 2 retreat sessions. So it's a intensive 5 days, 3 days, and then 2 days of really learning about yourself. Who are you as a leader? And then how do you work in the greater community? And we merge. What's really unique about our programming is we look both at leadership skills generally and then also at bringing your disability identity to it.
Part of taking that to the next step is working with people who are in leadership positions. So is there a mentoring component to this?
There is. Each fellow who's in our Leadership Institute is matched with a mentor one-to-one based on their interests and shared talents and where we think they can get the most experience. We have a members network of 95 people, some of whom have already been part of the Leadership Institute, others who are more established leaders who are invited, and many of them serve as mentors. So often our fellows are mentored by somebody who has very similar experience but is already in a leadership role.
I know when the program's complete, you help make connections for people so they have a place to exercise their leadership abilities. But first, I want people who are hearing about this and want to play a role. There is a deadline for applying for this. What do they need to know?
September 28th is our first deadline. If people miss that, there's another one in October. It's really for people who are emerging leaders who have a vision and passion about how they want to change things and who have some level of leadership experience.
Does my age matter?
Age does not matter.
Does my disability matter?
We've had people who are 65 years old, we've had people who are 20 years old, 26 years old, and all kinds of disabilities.
We're going to check it out. Thank you for the work you do, so very important. Emily Harris, the Executive Director for ADA 25, Advancing Leadership. I'm Paul Lisnick. Thanks for watching.